Welcome to Spain and my Rimovu K1 test. Okay, Rimovu's K1. We'll start with a quick unboxing. There's lots of leaflets, a copiously detailed manual, some very cool stickers, a nylon pouch to keep it in, a standard USB cable, and there's the unit itself. There's an optional extra recharging dock, but the standard out-of-the-box charging solution is to unclip the battery and use the USB. And that's about it. So, let's get on with it. Its internal image hardware comes via high-performance sports camera chip manufacturer Ambarella with a Sony sensor and a satisfyingly wide 101-degree lens at f2.8. Some of you won't like the way the lens distorts at the edges. I don't mind. As for me, it adds a kind of action camera drama to the shots. It does 12 megapixel stills with the now expected selection of single and burst modes, night mode, self-timer, and a pro photo mode with ISO up to 3200 and white balance at 6500 Kelvin. But it's the video on gimbal rigs like this that interests most of us, and we'll get to that in a moment, along with what's cool about the K1. First up though, I want to mention what bugs me about it. It has a viewfinder, which many gimbal stabilizers don't. Admittedly, if you're using your GoPro on a rig like Rimovu's own S1, which I reviewed a few months back, you'll be using its screen. But it's cool that the K1 offers you one built in. The issue here is that it's not a great screen. I'm guessing you can't really see that screen in this sunshine, and the thing is, nor can I. It's small and it's hampered by a low resolution. Case in point, for some reason, and this might be something dumb I'm doing or a genuine bug, I really don't know, sometimes the K1 doesn't find a level and instead ends up on the tilt. Here I'm setting up a shot using the K1's excellent motion mode, in which you can set a duration for the camera to automatically pan from one point to another. It's one of the unit's strongest features. Here's the problem though. Okay. I shot this in the glare of the Spanish sunshine, but if that screen was a little clearer, I may have noticed that the gimbal needed a reset, as the horizon was a little skew-whiff. So I didn't record this, but for the last 10 minutes I've been messing about, trying to get the horizon to be as straight as possible, because the gimbal has got an ever so subtle tilt on it. This happens with gimbals. They need recalibrating once in a while. There's a couple of settings in the K1 software to do this, and I honestly don't think it's a big deal. What is annoying is that the K1's less than perfect screen meant I couldn't clearly see the off-kilter horizon until I was back at my laptop. So I ended up having to come back the next day, this time without my tripod, for a reshoot. Other quibbles, the sound peaks out and distorts. Hola! Although when I'm not shouting, the sound quality isn't terrible, and there is an input for an external mic. There you go, boys. I've just turned it on. These lovely Spanish gentlemen say hello to YouTube.
Hello, YouTube. Hola.
I'd love to pretend that they're interested in the K1, but actually, it's the Evolve that they're interested in.
You have a channel in YouTube?
Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel, man. Oh, and the slow-mo mode doesn't extend to 4K, which is a bit of a shame. Okay, now what's good about the K1? The build quality and overall design are of a very high standard. It looks kind of futuristic, and the rubberized front grip feels safe in the hand. The 4-axis joystick functions well, and its speed when slewing the camera has 3 settings. Battery life at about 4 hours is extremely impressive. There are 2 battery indicators, one on the grip and one on the battery itself. At 340 grams, the K1 is lightweight, and that SD slot supports up to 256 gig of micro SD. There are ample shooting modes, follow, pan, and the really useful motion mode I mentioned, and selfie mode. Now this is just brilliant and means, along with the mic input, this gimbal rig could be used for vlogging. 3 clicks on the trigger and I'm in selfie mode. That dune buggy looked really good fun. Another 3 clicks and I'm back to forward camera. Fantastic. And I should just make mention of the K1 app. It offers easy access to all of the functions that you can get to on the camera, plus a couple more. And it does alleviate to a certain extent the issue with that tiny screen. Although, if I'm honest, and this might be because I had an early review version of the K1, I did find that the Wi-Fi hookup between the camera and the app was a little unreliable. So, the stabilisation. It's good. Here I'm jogging over rocks and you can judge the effects of the K1's 3-axis gimbal for yourself. I think it's pretty good. When jogging or walking, I'd say the stabilising effect on the K1 lacks a certain swagger. It feels to me that the movement on the yaw axis, that's side to side, is a little restricted. But it's not a big worry, and it's not apparent at all once I'm cruising on my electric skateboard. It's these kinds of shots on my skateboard or bike or some other kind of exotic mode of personal transport that would generally inspire me to reach for my Removu S1. And I was impressed to see that the K1 did itself proud. Just look at this 1080p slow-mo at 120 frames per second. I love it. The K1 is capable of 240 frames per second at 720p and 60 frames at WQHD, or wide quad high definition. That's 2560 by 1440. But I'm only really interested in 1080p or 4K, and sadly the latter is only available at 30 frames. This 1080p sequence from the K1 is exquisitely stable, but quite a bit noisier than the same shot from my handheld, thus less stable, Hero 6 Black. Imagine how much better those 120 frames a second would look if the K1 could just stretch its glistening, rock-solid, gimbal-stabilized slow-mo recording to that 4K resolution. Perhaps in the next version? Who knows? So, in conclusion, I've been using the K1 for a few days now, and I've got to say, I really like it. I mean, there's a lot of competition for this kind of technology at this price point, but the bottom line is this: if you chose the K1 and used it for a few days, I think you wouldn't be disappointed. And there's a type of shot that I like to do regularly, on my skateboard, on my bike, clambering over rocks, running around cities. And for that, this thing is lightweight, reliable, and produces an image quality that I can really use. So, while it's not perfect, I'd say Removu have cracked it with the K1. Hope you enjoyed the video. There are loads of reviews like this on my channel about film and photography tech and gadgets in general. So if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And best of all, a subscription would be fantastic, so you'll be the first to know when I upload new content. That's it, and be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments.